There is a deep, quiet hum within you, a pull toward another soul, a yearning to be seen, to be held. It is the oldest human song, a melody of connection that promises warmth against the cold, a harbor in the storm. And yet, when the light of another's attention finally falls upon you, something recoils. A gate closes where a door was meant to open. The warmth you craved suddenly feels like a fire, and the hand you wish to hold feels like a cage. This is the lonely landscape of wanting love while distrusting intimacy, a silent, internal war where the heart's greatest desire is also its most guarded secret. There is a particular kind of silence that settles in after a party you wanted to leave, but also desperately wished you could have belonged to. It is the sound of your own quiet breathing in a car, the streetlights painting fleeting stripes across your lap. It is the echo in an empty room that was, just moments ago, filled with laughter you could not quite join. You stand at the center of your life, a gracious host to a party of one. This is the tangible ache of the paradox, the heart that sends out invitations and the mind that locks the door when a guest arrives. You observe connection with the focused, hungry gaze of a scholar. You see it in the way a friend's hand rests on their partner's back, a simple gesture of unconscious belonging. You hear it in the easy cadence of shared stories, the overlapping sentences that speak of a history you are not a part of. You want this. The desire is not a fleeting thought. It is a current that runs through you, a fundamental architectural need. And so you try. You lean in. You offer a piece of yourself, a carefully selected anecdote, a practiced vulnerability. Someone leans in too. Their eyes hold yours for a moment too long, their interest genuine, their presence a quiet offering. And that is when it happens. The subtle shift, a feeling, not a thought, that rises from the floorboards of your being. The air grows thick. The warmth of their attention begins to feel like the heat of a spotlight, exposing every flaw. Their kindness feels like a debt you will be unable to repay. Their questions, once welcome, now feel like an excavation, digging into sacred ground that must be protected. A silent alarm begins to sound, one that only you can hear. And so you retreat. The retreat is a masterpiece of subtlety, a glance away, a change of subject, a joke that creates distance. You become an architect of gentle dismissals, an expert in the art of the graceful exit, leaving them slightly confused, but with no clear reason to feel rejected. You leave first, so you cannot be left. Back in the quiet of your own space, the relief is immediate and overwhelming. The alarm is silent. The fortress is secure. But then a new feeling begins to creep in, settling in a space the relief has vacated. A cold, familiar loneliness. The echo. You replay the conversation, but this time you see it from their perspective. You see the open door they offered, and you see yourself quietly closing it. The confusion is not theirs. It is yours. A deep, hollow ache born from the canyon between what you crave and what you can allow. You wanted them to see you, but you could not bear to be seen. And so you sit, in the silence, with the ghost of a connection you both wanted and willed away. Before you understood the world with words, you understood it with feeling. Your first classroom of love was a world of touch, of tone, of presence and absence. It was here, in the tender, unrecorded moments of infancy and youth, that the original blueprints for intimacy were drawn. These were not conscious decisions, but deep somatic lessons etched into your developing mind. For some, the classroom was a place of safety. The hands that held them were consistent, the gaze that met theirs was soft, and the world taught them a simple, profound truth. Connection is solace. Closeness is peace. But for others, the classroom taught a more complicated curriculum. Perhaps the hands that held you were sometimes warm, but other times they were distracted or tense or simply not there at all. Love may have been present, but it was conditional, a reward for being good or quiet or successful. It was a currency to be earned, not a climate to be lived in. You learned that affection could be withdrawn as quickly as it was given, leaving a disorienting chill in its wake. The lesson was not that love doesn't exist, but that it is unreliable. It is a flickering light in a drafty room, and you can never be sure when the darkness will rush back in. Or perhaps the environment itself was a storm. A home filled with unspoken tensions or loud conflicts, or the quiet, heavy weight of a parent's own unhealed sorrow. In this classroom, you became a small, sensitive seismograph, learning to detect the faintest tremors of discord. You learned that to be still, to be invisible, was to be safe. To need something, comfort, attention, reassurance, was to be a burden, to risk upsetting a fragile peace. Intimacy, in this context, was not a harbor. It was the turbulent sea itself. It meant being entangled in the difficult emotions of others. The blueprint drawn here was one of self-reliance's survival. Your own needs were secondary, packed away in a small, tight box, because the needs of the world around you were simply too large and unpredictable. These early sketches are not a judgment. They are not an assignment of blame. They are simply an origin story. They are the reason why the compass of your heart, while pointing true north toward the desire for love, spins erratically when you get too close to the destination. It is following an ancient map, a map that says, "Be wary, for the ground here is known to shift. Do not lean too hard, for the structure may not hold you. Do not reveal your heart, for it has been proven to be a fragile and burdensome thing." The distrust of intimacy is not a flaw in your character. It is a testament to your memory, a logical conclusion drawn from the evidence of your first world. The conscious mind wants love. It writes the poetry, it makes the plans, it dreams of a future intertwined with another. It is logical, hopeful, and forward-looking. But the body operates on a different timeline. The body is an archive, a library of every sensation, every fear, every moment of pain that was too overwhelming to be processed at the time. It does not think in language, but in sensation, a tightened jaw, a shallow breath, a knot in the stomach, a sudden flush of heat. It is the body that remembers the blueprints. When someone offers you a genuine moment of closeness, your mind might say, "This is good. This is what you've been waiting for." But your nervous system, the ancient vigilant guardian of your survival, may be telling a very different story. A kind and steady gaze can be interpreted by the amygdala, the brain's small, almond-shaped threat detector, as scrutiny. An offered hand can trigger the same primal impulse to flinch that was learned long ago when touch was unpredictable or unsafe. A vulnerable conversation can cause your heart to race and your lungs to constrict as the body prepares for a threat that is not actually there. It is operating from an old script, a script where intimacy was prelude to pain. This is not a failure of logic. It is the triumph of a brilliant biological security system. Your body is not trying to sabotage your happiness. It is trying to keep you alive. It learned at a crucial time that opening up, being seen, and depending on another was dangerous. That danger was encoded not as a memory you can recall, like a film, but as a physical state you inhabit. The threat may be long gone, but the alarm system is still perfectly functional, and it has a hair trigger. It cannot distinguish between the ghost of a past danger and the reality of a present safety. To the body, the feeling is the same. This is why you can feel so profoundly divided. The desire for connection pulls you forward, while a powerful, unseen undertow pulls you back. It's the feeling of having one foot on the accelerator and the other on the brake. You may find yourself exhausted, confused by the intensity of your own physical reactions. You may chastise yourself for being too sensitive or overthinking, but the reaction is not an overreaction. It is a perfectly calibrated response to a danger that was once real. Your body is simply a faithful historian, an honest keeper of records. It remembers the feeling of the fall, and now every time you approach a ledge, even a safe one with a beautiful view, it screams, "Step back." Faced with this deep, physiological alarm, the mind becomes a master strategist. It cannot simply ignore the body's cries of danger, so it develops a set of sophisticated psychological defenses to manage the threat. These are not cynical plots, but desperate, creative attempts to reconcile the yearning for love with the terror of it. This is the construction of the fortress, a magnificent and lonely structure built brick by brick to protect the vulnerable self within. One of the most common materials for this fortress is perfectionism. The unconscious logic is flawless. If I am perfect, perfectly kind, perfectly attractive, perfectly intelligent, perfectly self-sufficient, then no one will find a flaw to wound me with. If they love the perfect version of me, they will never have to see the real, messy, needy self that I am hiding. It is a relentless, exhausting performance. You become a curator of your own persona, showing only the most polished exhibits. The tragedy is that if someone does fall in love with this curated version, it doesn't feel real. The validation cannot penetrate the fortress walls because you know deep down that it is the performance they love, not you. Another brick is intellectualization. You approach love as a subject to be studied, not an experience to be felt. You can talk for hours about attachment theory, communication styles, and relationship dynamics. You are a brilliant analyst of love, able to deconstruct anyone else's romantic life with stunning clarity. But when it comes to your own, you remain in the cool, safe realm of the mind. Feelings are messy, unpredictable variables. Thoughts are clean and controllable. By analyzing love, you keep it at arm's length, transforming a potentially overwhelming emotion into a manageable intellectual puzzle. And then there is the most direct defense, emotional distancing. This is the art of being there, but not really. You can be a wonderful partner in many ways, reliable, fun, supportive. But there is a line that marks the boundary of true vulnerability. When a conversation veers too deep, you deflect with humor. When your partner needs emotional support that requires you to be truly open, you offer practical solutions instead. You create a moat around the fortress, not with anger or rejection, but with 1,000 subtle, pleasant diversions. The message is not go away, but rather stay right there on the other side of the water where it's safe for both of us. These walls were once a brilliant solution to an impossible problem. They were a sanctuary, but a sanctuary over time can become a prison, keeping out the very thing the prisoner longs for most. There is no single, dramatic moment when a fortress crumbles. It does not happen with the blast of a cannon or the shock of an earthquake. Instead, it begins with a crack, a hairline fracture, almost invisible at first, that appears in the wall after years of standing sentinel. It is a moment born not of drama, but of profound and quiet exhaustion. It is the weariness of the soldier who has been guarding the same post for decades, only to realize the war ended long ago, and there is no one left inside to protect. This turning point is the slow dawn of a painful awareness. It comes when you watch yourself push away another good person, and for the first time, the old familiar justifications feel thin and hollow. The relief of being alone is shorter, and the ache of loneliness that follows is longer. You begin to notice the pattern not as a series of isolated incidents, but as a single, repeating loop. The faces change, but your role in the story remains the same, the one who leaves, the one who cannot be held. The crack might appear in a moment of borrowed intimacy. Watching a film, reading a book, or listening to a friend describe their own secure connection, you feel a pang of longing so sharp and so pure that it cuts through the layers of fear. For a fleeting second, you allow yourself to feel the full weight of what you are missing. You see a vision of a life where your heart is not a fortress, but a home with an open door, and the beauty of that vision is heartbreaking. It is the grief for a life you have not allowed yourself to live. This realization is not a moment of self-blame, but one of startling clarity. You see the defense mechanisms for what they are, not character flaws, but outdated survival strategies. You see the scared child within the self-sufficient adult. For the first time, you feel a surge of compassion for the part of you that built the walls, a deep empathy for the pain that made them necessary. The enemy is not intimacy. The enemy has been the fortress itself. The pain of the self-imposed isolation has finally, quietly, begun to outweigh the feared pain of connection. The crack in the wall is small, but it is enough. It is just wide enough for a single, new ray of light to get in. And it is just wide enough for you to finally peer out. To dismantle a fortress is not an act of demolition. It is a slow, patient work of archaeology and of gardening. It is learning to speak a new language, one in which the word vulnerability does not mean danger, but possibility. This is the quiet, non-linear journey of healing. It begins not with a grand gesture, but with a single, gentle breath. A conscious choice to stay for 1 second longer in a moment of connection that makes you want to flee. The first words in this new language are spoken to yourself. It is the language of self-compassion. It is looking at the fortress you built and saying, "Thank you. You kept me safe when I needed it. I understand why you are here." Instead of fighting the fear, you begin to befriend it. You learn to recognize the familiar tightening in your chest not as a command to retreat, but as a simple signal from a younger part of you that is scared. You learn to place a metaphorical hand on its shoulder and whisper, "I am here. We are safe now." This internal dialogue is the foundation for all external change. You are learning to become your own secure base. From this place, you can begin the practice of titration. You do not flood yourself with intimacy. Instead, you allow small, tolerable doses. It might be the act of holding someone's gaze for one extra heartbeat, It might be answering the question, "How are you?" with a truthful, "I'm having a hard day," instead of the automatic, "I'm fine." It might be accepting a compliment without deflecting it, allowing the warmth of it to land, even if it feels uncomfortable. Each small act is a stitch that begins to repair the old blueprint, a new piece of evidence for the body that says, "See, we survived that. It was okay." This process often requires a guide, safe enough other. This may be a therapist, a trusted friend, or a partner who is patient and understanding. They are not a perfect person, but they are a person who can tolerate your fear without needing to fix it. They can sit with you in the awkward silences. They can understand when you need to pull back, and they will still be there when you are ready to lean in again. Through them, you experience a new kind of relationship, one that has space for both connection and retreat, one that does not demand all of you at once. You are not unlearning fear. You are expanding your capacity to feel the fear and choose connection anyway, moment by moment, breath by breath. You are learning to live in the house of your heart, even while the ghosts of the past still occasionally walk the halls. The end of this story is not a perfectly sealed and renovated home where no draft is ever felt again. The goal was never to erase the past, for the body's memory is long and its loyalty to what kept it safe is fierce. The final chapter is not a world without fear. It is a world where fear is no longer the king. It is a quiet truce, a landscape of peaceful coexistence. The fortress has not been razed to the ground. It has been softened, its stones repurposed. The walls have become garden boundaries, and the watchtower is now a quiet place to sit and observe the sky. Life is now a gentle negotiation, a dance. There are days when the old alarm rings, a phantom echo of a past threat. A moment of intense closeness, a vulnerable confession, a partner's bad mood. Any of these can trigger the old signal. But now you recognize the sound. You do not obey it blindly. You can pause. You can feel the familiar impulse to bolt, to build the wall back up, and you can breathe. You can notice the fear as a sensation, a wave passing through you, without becoming the fear itself. You can make a choice that was unavailable before. Sometimes the choice is to take a step back to ask for space, but now you do so with words, not with walls. Other times, the choice is to stay, to lean into the discomfort, knowing it will pass. The desperate, aching wanting has softened into a gentle, grounded desire. Love is no longer an idealized destination you can never reach, but a path you are walking. You find intimacy in smaller, more sustainable moments, a shared silence that feels comfortable, a moment of laughter over a small mistake, the quiet gratitude for a person who knows your history and loves you not in spite of it, but with it. The scars are visible, but they are no longer wounds. They are part of the map of who you are, a testament to what you have survived. There is a quiet power in this integration. The war between the part of you that craves love and the part of you that fears it is over. They are now in dialogue, each with a voice, each with a respected place at the table. And the door to your heart, once heavily barred and guarded, is no longer locked. It is not thrown wide open to every passerby, but it is left, gently, ajar, ready for the right person to knock, ready for you to choose to let them in, ready finally to be home.